Hey, what's up, everybody? I just want to thank everybody for tuning in here on the 5th edition of the Dr. Quack podcast. Today, I've got a little bit of a topic here. You know, it's been asked to be covered, so I'm going to do it now. It's called the 2017 Dating Guide. It's kind of funny. You look at back in the days, you know, and I'm an older guy, of course. I mean, when I first started getting involved in dating anybody, I was young. This was probably around the 90s era, about 94 on. I remember my first date. I was so nervous. I actually took a girl to the movies, and she had 10 of her female friends with her. Kind of a weird date, but hey, that's the first date I ever had. You know, it's weird how dating works, because you got, you know, the man who generally has to go up and ask the woman out, you know, and I'm sure fellas can agree with me on this. When you're younger, you don't have a lot of courage in you. You don't have a lot of confidence. Sometimes it takes some liquid courage, you know, stupid in a bottle. We call it alcohol, before you could even go up and talk to a girl. I've noticed a lot of guys need that. A lot of guys just can't walk straight up to a girl and ask her out without the fear of rejection. Rejection is the ultimate thing that nobody wants to experience, you know. And if you notice, you know, on the other half of it, you got the women over there. I mean, women get tired of this too. I can hear it all the time. They get tired of men asking them out, especially if they're not interested, you know. Well, my question is, how are we supposed to know that if we don't try, right? The shots you make are the shots you take. You know, if you don't try to take those shots, you don't make them, so you can go out and ask. I mean, when you get older, it almost gets to the point where you're like, you ask somebody out, they say no, you're like, fine, on to the next. You don't sweat it as much, but always when you're in your younger years, you see so many people get nervous about asking someone out. You know, usually it's like when I go out to a bar scene, this is the typical thing I see. I will just explain this. Guys usually got to have his liquid courage to go up and talk to her. He's starting the initiation of conversation. Thank you, Big Daddy, for that knowledge. I mean, that's what it is. If you don't go up and talk, nothing happens. So you go up and talk to her, you know, and you're starting a conversation, and you're, you know, keeping it going. You're mingling a little bit. Then what do? You know, I mean, you try to play some pool. You might buy her a shot. Of course, I always have one buddy of mine. He'd always come up to girls and buy them drinks consistently and leave home alone. Kind of hilarious in my eyes. And then you'd have the other person, and this was crazy. He'd be like, hey, you want to go to my house? And that's putting it without, that's PG version. But basically, yeah, he would say that to every girl, and by about 2 o'clock, he would find somebody and take them home. You know, kind of two different ways that, you know, work or don't work. But you always see that initial conversation. You know, you might go play some pool. You might take her on the dance floor. You might buy her shots up the, you know, gut right there. And you're consistently, you know, talking, because, you know, when you're sitting there and you're looking at some girl and you're debating yourself, guys and girls are like, no, in the first couple minutes, am I really interested in this person? And, you know, I've seen guys do this, and they'll sit there, and, you know, the girl will be talking and be like, am I interested in this? Should I be interested in this? Should I look like I'm interested even though I'm not interested? You know, Vince Vaughn syndrome, that video, I can't tell you where it came from, but I know he wanted to set it. But it's basically the truth there, because, you know, you got that awkwardness that sits there, that initial meeting of dating, which is hilarious. You know, and the thing I see in later relationships is people get comfortable. That's a totally different feeling, because when you get comfortable, you start to slip up. You know, because when you're first dating a girl, you're calling her every day. You're calling her babe, honey, dear, sweetheart. You know, all those great words. And then you get comfortable and you decide that, you know, I don't need to do that as much. I don't need to pick up any flowers for her. I used to do that every day. Why do I need to do that now? You know, I don't have to take her out as much. you know. You get complacent. I notice that with a lot of guys, and girls too. Girls get complacent as well on their life there, you know, thinking, oh, I've got it made, I've got a good guy, he's staying at home, whatever. And then that's when things seem to mess up, you know, when you get complacent in a relationship. Things I notice on, you know, just dating in general is it's always funny. You'll go to the bar and you will see some guy with some hot girl and you will go, how the hell are these two together? And you sit there and wonder, and most of the time that answer is that guy, you know, that you think, you know, shouldn't be dating her, probably had enough balls to go ask her. And she said yes. That's my advice to the younger generation, is have balls. Don't be scared. Go up and ask people out. Don't be scared of rejection. It's a hard thing to deal with. But you should not be scared of rejection there. It's an overall just... Dating today is so weird because I've seen people do it online. That's another thing. Back in my younger days, up until about, I would say, 2000 or so, 2001, you really didn't have much social media. You didn't have any of that. You had AOL, which was dial-up. Yeah, I'm aging myself a little bit, but that's just the way it is. You know, you had to go out and actually physically talk to people. Or you had a friend who talked to somebody. Now you've got texting. Of course, you got phone like you did back in the days. But you got Facebook. You've got Snapchat. You've got all the other stupid things. 50 different ways to communicate. But nobody really says what they mean. That's what I find funny. If you really want to say something to somebody, just say it. Get it out there. You might get your feelings hurt. You might not. But at least you know, hey, I gave it my all and I tried. And I said everything I wanted to say. But a lot of people are so scared. They fear rejection. You know, that's my advice. Don't fear rejection. Just go out there and do it. Go out there and be yourself. And you'll find somebody. They always say don't look. That's the best thing. If you can do that, stop looking. You know, me personally, being single now, I don't really look. I'm pretty much to the point where I'm going to continue to focus on my own life and move forward. You know, if someone comes out of it, great. If I find somebody, that's awesome. If I don't, I got to make sure I'm taken care of. That's number one. And that's something I'll tell all you. You should always make sure you're taken care of first. You know, well, this kind of concludes my video. I figured I'd do it tonight. I appreciate y'all watching this. If you can, like, subscribe to this channel. That would be really great. I would appreciate it. I'm definitely trying to get viewers on this. I'm going to have some special guests. I have a couple people that want to come on and talk about some things. And if you would like to be a special guest, let me know. Hit me up either here or on my Facebook and let me know. And I'll definitely get you on here. I have no problems with that. There is no topic that's not going to be discussed, so I do not fear anything. That's this show here. You guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Love y'all.